Welcome back to Don't Forget Your Flashlight. As always, we are your hosts, Casey, Michael, Gabriel.
That's me. I'm all of
It's
them
me.
together.
We're all three, Casey, Michael. We are Casey, Michael, Gabriel.
We are Legion.
We are Legion.
When police walked into the home of Katherine Knight on a quiet March morning in 2000,
Oh, we're jumping right in. Okay.
they didn't know they were about to uncover one of the most gruesome crime scenes in Australian history. Welcome back to Don't Forget Your Flashlight. Today I have for you, our listeners, and Michael and Gabe, Dinner's Ready, the killer love story of Katherine Knight.
How many murders happen in Australia?
Dude, probably a shit ton. It's a big-ass continent.
Okay, I was just curious.
What kind of question is that? There's probably so many.
What?
Well, you said this is
How
the
many
most
murders
gruesome
happen?
crime, so I was like,
Yeah, this is the most gruesome.
Factual? This is the most gruesome?
yeah. So we're just saying there's not any more gruesome crimes than this.
There's nothing else in Australia that's been more gruesome than this.
In 2023, there were 409 victims of homicide. Murders happen all the time. What is it in
I
America?
feel like that's
though?
really low though. What's the United States? It's got to be higher. Only 409.
Just along for the ride.
I just feel like
In just California alone is just under 2,000 a year. So the entirety of Australia has a little over 400, where just California has a little under 2,000. Yeah, they're doing okay. They're pretty good. Actually, I think this is the most gruesome to ever happen in Australia. What drives someone to not only murder their partner, but to try to serve them for dinner? Katherine Knight is an Australian murderer and the first woman to be sentenced to life in prison. Her crime was so disturbing and disgusting, even the most seasoned detectives couldn't stomach the gruesome scene.
First woman in Australia or first woman in the world?
In Australia.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Okay, before we really get into it, if you can go rate us on Spotify and YouTube, we would really appreciate it. It really does help us out. It also helps us not to end it all before going to work on Monday morning. Thank you.
God, that got dark. I love you and I love the podcast. I'm not gonna end it all before Monday.
Well, yeah, you won't.
Oh, Casey, do you need to talk to someone? There are resources.
I do this podcast. That's my talking.
Okay. Well,
No, I get it.
We can talk later.
Monday morning we'll see how much I got.
Anyway, Katherine was born in 1955 in Tenterfield and was raised in a small town of Aberdeen in New South Wales. This is where she had trouble. She had a troubled upbringing. Her mother, Barbara, had given birth to 4 sons with her husband, John, also referred to as Jack. After her children were born, she began to have an affair with a guy named Kenneth, who is a co-worker and friend of Jack's. Barbara left Jack. Barbara and Kenneth moved to Moree. They moved there with her sons. 2 of the children stayed with Jack, and 2 went to live with their aunt in Sydney. Barbara would then go on to have another 4 children with Kenneth. One of these children was Katherine. Jack, the biological father of the first 4 boys, passed away in 1959. This forced 2 of the boys to move in with Barbara and Ken. So now there are 8 people living in this house. Kenneth was a violent alcoholic and would rape Barbara, their mom, up to 10 times a day. Barbara would often tell her children of her sex life, because why not? That's what mothers do. Barbara stated to Katherine that she hated sex and men, and would then go on to give her children terrible motherly advice. Katherine approached her mother one day about Barbara's partners. One of the partners wanted Katherine, the daughter, to perform sexual acts on him. Katherine didn't want to do it though because she was a child at this time. I want to say she was like 8. She was really young. He wanted Katherine to perform sexual acts. She didn't want to do it because she was a child. Barbara, her mother, told her, put up with it and stop complaining. Katherine was thereafter sexually assaulted regularly, even by members of her family. And these horrible events would continue until she was 11, which is still a child.
So for 3 years minimum, she was getting raped by her stepdad, her brothers, and her stepdad's friends that would come over to the house.
Potentially, yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Like, the crime that Katherine commits is horrific. But not understand. How do I want to say? It's like you almost feel sympathetic for her upbringing to like almost make justifications of
Is you almost
her
feel like it's
mental
trauma led to
instability.
it. Yeah,
I feel
just
like knowing
trauma
what we're
led.
getting into now, I started this podcast too happy.
Yo, for sure, dude.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it's
You
not
might want to
getting
take
much
another hit
better
on
as
that pen.
You might also want to and you can edit some
There
here
are
too.
warnings as we progress.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
you're gonna want to add before we start the episode visual or viewer discretion
there
is
won't be any visual
advised.
thing, but yeah, there will be warnings. I'll probably just say one right now. I'll just pause real quick. This episode is going to be very gruesome and disgusting. So if you're squeamish, you're underage, don't listen to this episode. This viewer discretion is advised. Just go listen to something else. Anyway, now I'm going to force you guys to participate. As Catherine grew up, there were only two people she truly trusted: her uncle, Oscar Knight, and her sister, Joy. Her uncle was a champion horseman, but would tragically unalive himself in 1969, leaving Catherine feeling alone and in a state of grief. She maintains the idea, though, that his ghost still visits her even to this day. But when Catherine started high school, she was a loner and a bully. Although she received awards for good behavior, she would intimidate smaller classmates and instigate fights. She assaulted one classmate with a weapon and injured a teacher. Her classmates described her as having a brutal rage that obviously not even teachers could control. Not sure how you get
How did she win
good
awards for
behavior.
good
Yeah,
behavior if she was intimidating teachers?
I'm not. Yeah, you're great. You're doing
She's like, I
great.
better see that award on my desk.
So, Catherine dropped out of high school at 15, unable to read and write, which I'm not sure how you get good awards if you can't read and write. Either way, she began work as a cutter in a clothing factory. She would then pursue her dream job working at a butcher shop. This is important. She enjoyed killing and skinning the animals and was quickly promoted. She was given a set of really nice butcher knives, which she loved. She loved these knives so much that she would hang them above her bed, so as she would say, would always be handy if I needed them, which I don't know what you need butcher knives in the bedroom for. But she did this everywhere she lived, all the way up until she was arrested,
So,
obviously.
like, define hung them above her bed. Are we
Yeah, I'd
talking
be
like
so
baby
scared.
style, like they're just
There's
floating
some.
above, like spinning, like blades?
Yeah, dude.
That's what I pictured. It's just
Dude,
like
you know how terrifying it'd be to look up and you're just
you
staring
just
at
see a bunch
sharp
of
blade.
butcher knives just like
I would
floating above
imagine.
you.
Okay, so there was one article said they were under her pillow. Another was that they were hung up on the wall next to her. I would imagine that they were in some kind of case, so the case was probably hanging. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I'm imagining. Even though Catherine had her dream job, she still had a rage. She would physically threaten, maybe even assault town folks that upset her just on the street. Catherine got married at 18 to David Kellett, who's a very brave man. Kellett was an alcoholic due to trauma from his past. He witnessed his best friend die in a shunting accident. Is when you're moving one rail car from one track to another, and he rescued injured people who were stuck on a bus that had been hit by a train. 6 children died on the bus, and the combination of the shunting accident and the bus accident left David with some mental scars. But they still got married, and Catherine, no stranger to trouble, would take out her rage on David. On the wedding night, Catherine strangled David because he went to sleep after only having sex 3 times. Maybe Catherine's not so bad after all, huh?
So on the wedding night, she went ahead and
Whoa.
killed her husband.
No. She didn't kill him. She just strangled him. Not to death.
Oh, okay. So I was really confused by that. She went ahead.
Yeah.
I thought you meant she like they had sex 3 times, and then he's like, "I'm going to bed," and she's just like, "Die."
No.
Could you
it
imagine?
wasn't to death.
Could you imagine laying there and she starts strangling you? You're just like, I'm not into this. This isn't my kind of kink. Also, I can't go another time.
I don't know where Catherine found her men, but none of
Yeah.
these men are real. They're not really swell guys either.
I mean, hold up. This dude sounds pretty intense. He saved 6 children. Or tried to.
David.
He's also a heavy alcoholic with.
But so she would claim, I don't think I mentioned in this one in particular, but she would claim to like police or other people that her partners were abusive towards her. But whenever she was arrested in police, and I think I go into this, but whenever police start investigating these people, there's never any proof that they were abusive to her. So,
Oh wait, he didn't even try. Wait, did he?
He's not dead.
I assume that it does not say he tried to help them. He just saw the bus get hit by the train.
it did. He was rescuing injured people who were stuck on a bus that was hit by a train.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said that. That's why I was like, yeah, that'd probably mess me up too. I mean, you see that? And I'm imagining if
I mean, my best friend's an I'm not gonna lie, my best friend's an EMT, and he's told me some pretty gruesome stuff that he's drawn up on. Like,
oh yeah,
children, people dying, people like as you show up and they're dying in front of you, you know, and you can't save them.
I'm
So
not
like,
gonna lie.
but he's also not a raging alcoholic. So I think there's also other things that go into play here, alcoholism being an issue.
I mean, his
But
best friend died.
I'm not trying to justify
I
him being
could-
an alcoholic here. I'm just like, I don't use that as an excuse.
I can only imagine how gruesome his death was because it involved a rail car.
That would be pretty fucked up to
he's
watch.
That's what
it was probably smashed.
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't imagine like how gruesome it probably was to see that. So yeah, that probably messed you up a little bit. I'm not, you
Fuck
know.
me up.
Oh, never mind. We don't need to go on a tangent.
Yeah.
So, even before their wedding night, Catherine's mother told David, Gabe, I kind of want you to read this in a really, like, an Australian accent, but, like, kind of a gnarly one.
A gnarly Australian
Yeah.
accent. God,
Yeah.
what do I have for you? You better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. I don't know how to do Australian. I'm sorry. That's bad.
Go
I'm
on,
just
just
like,
keep going. You're good.
Corky, mate. You better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. Stay up with the wrong. That sounds too British, Cogney.
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, if you want to get technical, Australia was kind of like founded by British and stuff.
Yeah,
Australia was kind of like a prison country.
The,
I'll just read it. So,
you
Catherine's
better watch this one.
okay.
It sounds too cocky.
Catherine's mother said,
I'm too.
"You better watch this one, or she'll fucking kill you. Stir up the wrong way, or do the wrong thing, and you're fucked. Don't even think about playing up on her. She'll fucking kill you."
See, you sound Boston.
Yeah, you added.
You better watch
I
this
feel
one.
like
She'll fucking kill you. Stir up the
like
wrong way or do the wrong thing, and you're
See,
fucked.
well, that's the thing. Like, I feel
Don't
like
ever think of playing up on her.
British,
She'll fucking kill you.
Australian is just British and Bostonian. together.
Bostonian British.
That's not true. I'm sorry, Australia, if you're listening to this. So, throughout their 5-year marriage, Catherine was physically violent towards David. One night, David came home late after playing in a darts competition.
Mhm.
He was greeted with a frying pan to the head. David was taken to the hospital to find out she had fractured his skull, and then Catherine burned all of David's clothing.
I wouldn't go home. No, I wouldn't go home.
David had eventually had enough and would divorce Catherine in 1978 when their daughter was born. Catherine maintained custody of Melissa, their daughter, and would display violent behavior with her as well. Catherine was seen furiously pushing the stroller down the street with her one-day-old baby. Her neighbors, obviously concerned, reported her, and she was sent to the St. Elmo's Hospital for a stay in the psychiatric ward. She stayed there for several weeks for postnatal depression. After she was released, Catherine took her 2-month-old daughter and placed her on the railroad tracks shortly before a train was due. Catherine left her daughter on the tracks and was only rescued because someone, an older homeless man, happened to be foraging near the railway that day. After dropping her baby off the railway tracks, went into town wielding a stolen axe and was threatening to kill people. She was arrested and once again found herself in St. Elmo's psychiatric ward. Somehow she recovered and checked herself out the next day. And I'm beginning to think in Australia in the 80s was, I say a lawless country, but it might be a little bit worse than that. I just don't think they care. They don't care.
My thing is, are they giving her kids back each time also?
I think so. I think she's getting her kids back too.
They're like, hey, we found your kid on a train station. Like,
that's
railroad.
why I
You want
left
them
her.
Yeah? Okay.
A few days later, Catherine, who was 80% rage, slashed a slashed a random woman's face with one of her prized butcher knives and demanded she take her to Queensland to find her ex-husband, David Kellett. The woman only escaped after they had to stop at the service station. Here, her ride now gone, took a young boy hostage. When the police arrived, she was threatening the boy with a knife. She was disarmed by the police using broomsticks.
Good for them.
Here I mentioned it. This when I read this, it reminded me of Shaun of the Dead when they're in the bar and they got to beat the bar owner, and that Queen song's playing. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna add that in. I'll add that in. Katherine found herself in another psychiatric ward. While admitted, she told nurses she intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because she found out that he had repaired her ex-husband's car, allowing him to leave. She also told nurses that when she found Kellett, she was going to kill him and his mother.
Ah, the mom too, yeah.
Yep.
How dare his mom warn
No.
him that I was insane?
Okay, well then I'll ask this question to you first, Michael. Before I continue, if you were informed that your ex-wife was on her way to kill you and your mom because she's a psycho, what would your reaction be?
Oh man. I'd either...
Let's just say one of your ex-girlfriends, you found out she's on her way to kill you, and she only vaguely knows where you're at.
I'd be terrified for one, just the thought of it.
If it was me, I'd go into hiding.
I was like, I need to go into hiding.
I would report it to police.
Yeah, I was like, I need like protection.
And then
okay, so you're putting yourself in witness protection?
I wouldn't put myself in witness protection, but I would inform the police. Then I would like just kind of go into hiding.
It sounds like this woman absolutely does not like care to break the law because she was going to kill that guy for just fixing his car so he could leave town.
Yeah.
So it's like, clearly I am scared for my life because this woman will most likely murder me.
Gabe, what would your reaction be?
Well, so an ex is on her way to kill me.
Yep.
Probably leave town for a little bit.
Yeah, you would go into hiding. You would just disappear
dip,
from. Yeah, you would make it incredibly hard for her to kill you.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go on vacation.
Tell us what David did.
David Kellett, when informed of Catherine's plan, he left his current girlfriend and returned to Aberdeen with his mother to take care of Katherine.
Oh.
Like, okay.
Well, that's an option.
When you
David Kellett had moved on and he was with a girl, and he broke up with that girl to go to Katherine, the woman who said she is going to kill him. He went back to her.
Now, when you say take care of, do you mean like because she's not all there, or do you mean like,
yeah,
hey, I'm gonna go take care of her. She's gonna sleep with the fishes tonight.
Oh, I thought you meant he was gonna kill her.
No,
that's what I thought.
No.
You said take care of, and you said it like a mafia way.
No, literally go take care of her.
No, you made it seem like him and his mom are about to go. They're gonna go take care of.
Who takes their mom on a hit?
I don't know, but you're the one who said
not.
They're gonna go take care of her.
Maybe
like, so if you were like genuinely about to go kill someone, would you be like, "Hey, mom, you want to come hang out with me, or we're about to go ice a guy?"
Hold up, I'll defend him. Maybe he doesn't have the heart to hit a woman, so he's like, "Mom, I'll hit a woman."
If I brought my mom to a hit, it's because I'm going to use her as a distraction.
Well, there you go. So you're taking your mom to a hit?
No. Anyway, Katherine was released from the psychiatric ward into the care of David Kellett and his mother. They moved to a city outside of Brisbane, where she obtained a job as another butcher. In March of 1980, they had their second daughter, Natasha.
At a certain point, I'm just wondering about people's stupidity.
Like, take her knives away. Do not give her like the safety scissors or something.
Keep
she
her
has
in
to have
the
knives.
Psychiatric ward.
Or euthanize her like the dog she is.
Okay.
Was that too much? Was that too far? No.
What's your opinion?
After you hear the story, it's not.
This woman hurts you, and like you're probably very scared and intimidated of her. You're gonna go back and basically live a normal life. We have another kid together.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's gonna be another butcher.
Wild.
Just 4 years later, Katherine would leave David and move back to Aberdeen and went to work at another butcher shop.
She left him this time.
Yeah, she left him this
Good
time.
for her.
And why didn't anybody stop and think, hey, maybe we shouldn't allow the psycho chick to have knives? I don't know.
You know how relieved I'd be? Because if she left me, that's a good chance she's not coming back for me, so I can now live a normal
Yeah,
life. And
yeah.
be
David Kellett definitely dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
During her time back at the butcher shop, she started dating 38-year-old David Saunders. A few months into the relationship, he moved in with her and her 2 daughters. Saunders kept his apartment in another town, though, which infuriated Katherine. She became jealous and just thought of the things that he was doing while she wasn't around. So, like, she thought that David would go to his apartment and have an affair, or would cheat on her and stuff like that, which never happened. Katherine would get so angry with Saunders, sometimes even throw him out. You know, it was a good thing he had a place to stay, though, right? But then Katherine would later follow him back to his apartment and beg for him to return. But Katherine also claims Saunders was abusive towards her. She claimed on one occasion he had kicked her in the stomach when she thought she was pregnant. So in retaliation to this, she went outside with a knife, all while David Saunders was watching, and slit his puppy's throat.
Wait, her ex or the first one?
They're both named David. This is David Saunders.
Okay.
The second,
That
yeah,
makes
the guy.
This is the new man. Okay.
So the new man, she killed the puppy in front of him.
Yeah, because, well, she said it was in retaliation to him kicking her in the stomach, but later in the court, they proved that there was no evidence to indicate this.
You know,
she
good
just
for
made
him.
this shit up.
He's got a second house. Keeping his options open. He should really pick the other option.
But so she slit his dog's throat, and later on in the
John Wick her?
relationship, yeah, no.
Oh, that'd be such a good story.
Actually, if the story is correct, they actually had another baby after it. Later on in the relationship, she would damage his car and take an overdose of sleeping pills. She was then admitted into another psychiatric facility. So this should be the 4th time she's admitted to a psychiatric facility. Also, there was never any proof that Saunders was aggressive towards Katherine. Like, I read the court case for this. Like, so all of her claims were never backed.
So she kills this puppy, and then they end up having another child.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
How do you? All right, Casey. Question for you: how do you see? Like,
I would not. But I would want to probably. I feel like you can kind of gauge a person's mental state just by having a simple conversation with them, and I certainly wouldn't. I don't think I would have gotten to this relationship. But this chick apparently is a sex fiend. So maybe if I was that hard up, maybe.
Like she really needs sex?
Like, if the sex is good enough, you might just be like, oh, she's a little crazy, whatever. But if she killed my dog, I'd be like, all right, this is more than that. I'm
like
out.
in all these relationships, it like shows her like there tells of her being like the instigator of sex most of the time.
Well, she was mad at her first husband because he only had sex 3 times and passed out.
Yeah.
Dude was probably dead ass exhausted and empty.
Oh yeah, so they would end up having a kid together, right?
Right.
So during this relationship, Katherine got pregnant, and David was obligated to buy a house for this now growing demon family. The house was decorated by Katherine and her demons. She decorated the house with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, old boots, machetes, rakes, and pitchforks. No space, even on the ceilings, was left untouched by Katherine's tormented hands. And there was probably no finer place to raise 3 girls than inside a monster house.
I'm like picturing like
a demon,
Texas Chainsaw level massacre.
A demon with red hair.
Just disgusting, full of like animal parts, but just.
So what makes Katherine a demon? The story only goes up from here. I should say down, really. Anyway, one night while enjoying their beautiful home, Katherine and Saunders got into an argument. During this argument, she hit him in the head with a frying pan and stabbed him in the abdomen with a pair of scissors. Good thing she probably had like 15 of those hanging on the walls. And then Saunders, a smart man, actually he's kind of a fucking dumb man for doing it now, he went into hiding. So a few years later, Katherine began dating John Chillingworth. This relationship would only last 3 years, but during that time they had a son, Eric. Katherine left Chillingworth for a man she had been having an affair with, John Price.
Let's get this over with.
God, Katherine was cheating on
him. And not Captain John Price from Call of Duty. Even though I probably will add a clip in there.
I will say, I feel like all these men before, I have a feeling that all these men, someone's not going to be a lucky one. Like, I'm not saying these men are lucky because they've gotten hurt, but they're all still alive. As where I imagine one of these men is gonna be the dead one, and he's not gonna be lucky.
Well, the puppy didn't live.
No, the puppy did not.
I'm glad you guys aren't reading ahead, because I was going to give something away, but now I won't. Shall we continue?
Yeah, tell me about Captain John Price.
John Price, often referred to as Pricey, was described as a terrific bloke and liked by everybody. He was previously married but divorced in 1988. He had 3 children from his previous marriage, and 2 of the children lived with him at that time.
Okay.
So the relationship with Katherine began very well. Other than the occasional fight, they enjoyed each other's company and apparently had a vigorous sex life. Their relationship could be described as a bunch of roses, but this wouldn't last long. Katherine began to get upset that John refused to marry her. She began to take pictures of out-of-date medical kits from his job and send them pictures to his boss as stolen items. So John, who had worked at this job for 17 years, was fired, and the same day he kicked Katherine out. He had worked at the job for 17 years. She began sending pictures to his boss of out-of-date medical kits that she would say he stole, which led to him being fired.
Gotcha.
A few months later, though, they restarted their relationship but argued more than ever, even losing friends who wanted nothing to do with them while they were together, which must have been some bomb-ass sex.
I just picture, I don't know why, because you said that, I just picture all his friends are like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. He's like, at least the sex is bomb, guys. All right, bye.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, well, I've got
He's
great
like, dude,
sex.
she's really crazy. He's like, yeah, but
Dude, you think she's freaky? You should see what she does in the bedroom.
I don't imagine I've ever. There's no one, no girl I've ever been with that could be this insane that I would deal with it.
I mean, they say the crazy ones that
I
give
guess
you the
just
best
haven't
sex.
had great sex.
Yeah, they say the
No,
crazy ones
I've
give
had
the
a
best
lot
sex.
of great sex. I promise you that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, maybe that's it. I haven't had any great sex. That's what it is. I'm just waiting for you, Casey.
Gabe
Let's
gets
run
with
away
like this
together.
girl who like stabs people and cuts dogs' throats. He's like,
It's because I stay
Dude.
away from the 2 crazy ones. Apparently.
she's insane, but fuck, man.
Gabe, go to a psych ward and
Oh,
find yourself a
God.
crazy bitch.
I don't think that's
No,
the direction I see for my life.
Well, then I guess you'll just never have great sex, dude.
You know, Gabe,
You
crazy
know what?
crazy
Then so be
people
it.
need love too.
They do. They deserve love. They need love. It
They
doesn't
need
mean
you,
I have to be
Gabe.
the one to give it.
No, you need to be the one.
Doesn't mean I have to be the one to give it.
Okay, let's continue on. Gabe's missing out on great sex. Anyway,
The murder.
The murder. March 1st, 2000. Sergeant Robert Wells walked into a crime scene so gruesome it would be stained in his memory forever. If you are squeamish, I would suggest you skip this.
Okay.
And I may have to. All right, so Catherine's assault on John Price started in February when Katherine stabbed John in the chest. This would be the final straw, so he thought, and he kicked her out of the house. Later that month, he filed a restraining order against Katherine in fear for himself and his kids. Price even told some of the co-workers that if he didn't return to work, Katherine had killed him. Although they pleaded for him not to return home, he was afraid she would hurt his children. Very respectable. When John arrived home, Katherine, who was not there, had sent the children to sleep over at a friend's house. So he stayed at the neighbors until later that evening, and he went home and went to bed around 11 o'clock.
So real quick, the way you worded that, Katherine sent the kids away?
Yes. Katherine had gone to the house, like she was living there. Right?
I thought he kicked her out.
Yes, but
That
she
would
had
scare
returned
me.
home and sent the children to go stay at their friend's house.
Because that means she wants the house empty. That would scare me so much.
Yeah, so the house is now
So he
empty
got there
now.
and his kids were gone, and he didn't question it.
Yeah, he was home alone. Well, I think he questioned it. I would assume it doesn't mention anything, not even in the court file itself, but I would assume that he probably got home and probably called the friend's parents or whatever and asked if his kids were there. You know what I mean? Like he probably went on a quick investigation of where his kids were at, I would imagine, because this guy seems like a good dad, for the most part. He seemed like a good guy. There was never any indications of him abusing his children in any way. You know, him and his previous wife got a divorce in '88, and the kids lived with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Either way, he came home. Everybody was gone.
Man,
So he stayed at the neighbor's house until 11, where he came home and went to bed.
dude, I probably would have stayed the night at my neighbor's house. I don't think I would have gone back to my house to go to bed.
Well, he might have been thinking the coast is clear.
Maybe.
So Katherine went to John's house later that night. She watched TV, took a shower, all while John was asleep in the bedroom. She would then go into the bedroom and wake John up, which they had sex, and which afterwards John would fall back asleep. My man's a dog, you know, bark, bark, baby.
How good is the sex?
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's already stabbed him in the chest once and he kicked her out.
Yep.
Like, she must be rocking his world or something.
Like, and she just shows up in the bedroom, wakes him up, and his immediate thoughts are like, the kids are gone. The crazy woman who stabbed me in the chest, he's just like, oh yeah.
How do you think that
it's
conversation
good.
went? It's like, no, I don't want to sleep with you. You stabbed me in the chest. She's like, but sex.
I got it, dude. Gabe, we're going to fly you to Australia, and you're going to have a conjugal visit with Katherine, and then you're going to tell us.
Dude, what
Why
if
am
he-
I the test subject
What if
here?
he came out? What if he came out of it
Well,
and goes,
because you're single.
what if he came out of it and was like, oh, wow, guys, like, I got
That
stabbed
doesn't mean I
want to
go have freaky sex with some crazy woman in a...
She shivved me in the leg. Best sex I ever had. Best. I don't think I'll ever find better. I might as well become a monk.
You might have to go to hide.
The next
The
morning,
worst hiding spot.
a neighbor became concerned when they spotted John's car still in the driveway, knowing he worked that day. Along with that,
John's
his
dead.
co-workers
Oh, he's dead.
became
Absolutely.
concerned.
John's dead. I'm calling it.
Along,
John's
along with this, the co-workers became concerned when John did not show up for his shift. So they sent some of the people over to his house. John's co-workers and neighbors both knocked on the windows to his room and circled around the house, knocking on the doors. They soon became very alarmed when they saw blood on one of the doors, so they called the police, obviously. When police arrived, they had to break down the front door where they found Katherine comatose from taking a large dose of sleeping pills. They also found John. Katherine had stabbed John 37 times. She stabbed him at least once while he was asleep, and they were guessing that he woke up and tried to turn on the light, and he tried to escape Katherine, but she chased him through the house where he reached the front door because the blood found on the doorknob on the inside. John made it outside because the blood on the outside of the doorknob as well, but she dragged him back inside into the hallway where he bled out. She stabbed him both front and back, puncturing vital organs such as his aorta, both lungs, liver, stomach, colon, pancreas, left kidney, and like the lower half of the left kidney was sliced off. Also, the 37 stab wounds themselves is only an estimate because of the damage done to his neck. Blood had been splattered throughout the house and pooled in the hallway. The pool was 1 meter by 2 meters and was still wet when the police arrived. The murder weapon, obviously a butcher's knife, which they also found a sharpening stone and a butcher's steel for sharpening with the knife, which to me seems a little bit premeditated.
I was gonna say, I feel like it almost sounds like she was in the middle of it and was like, this blade isn't sharp enough, and sharpened them to make more damage.
I feel like she sharpened it while he was asleep.
Ooh, maybe preparing, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I personally think it was premeditated. After John was dead, Katherine went into Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from his account and returned back to John's home hours later. This is where it starts getting even more depraved. Again, viewer and listener discretion is advised. When Katherine returned, she dragged Price's body into the lounge where she used her expertise and experience as a butcher to delicately remove the skin of John Price. She was so precise, she removed the skin from his face, nose, ears, and neck all in one pelt. After the post-mortem examination, they were able to sew the skin back on John Price's body. Although gruesome, it allowed examiners to get a better picture of the injuries and methodology that Katherine used. Katherine claimed to have no memory of the events that night. During the act, she tried to defile John's remains by crossing his legs and tried to prop up his body using a a 1.25 liter soda bottle. She also left a note on John's body covered in blood and skin, accusing John of raping her daughter, but there was no evidence to support this. So when the detectives walk in, they found John's skin body in the lounge. How you guys feeling so far? So the
What do you mean
detectives...
she defiled his body with a soda bottle? Like she...
No, like she defiled his body by, like, she crossed his legs and tried to prop him up on a soda bottle. So this skinned corpse is just
Sitting
like
up.
positioned.
Yeah, not that she like
Yeah, I thought you meant
did
she, like...
sexual
One
acts
thing-
with the corpse.
I've always thought about, and maybe this is just me, but like, okay, if someone's trying to stab me to death, I don't care who it is. If they're trying to kill me and I have the option to kill them with me, I will do what I can to kill them. Why so many people like don't fight back for their actual life?
Well, he was asleep.
Yeah,
when
well,
this
clearly he
happened.
got stabbed once, tried to turn the light on, and then tried to
Yeah.
escape, and that said he made it out of the house is what they think.
So I didn't mention it, and I apologize. I should have. As she was chasing him down the hallway, she was stabbing him in the back.
That's what I'm saying. Turn around
Yeah,
and
fight. What, like...
fucking stab her back, like grab.
It's like one good stab to kill you. Like, yeah, I'm
Well-
not letting her get that many in.
Like, okay, for instance, here's my point. The new John Wick, the ballerina spinoff. I haven't seen it yet, but it does a good part, I think, about opening it, and it says how, like, when they're training the female assassin, it's like you'll always be less strong, you'll always be less fast, because she's always going to be going. They're telling her she's always going to be going against male assassins, so she'll always have to use her skills to benefit her, against that, because 9 out of 10 times guys are stronger, right? Like, and that's why it always blows my mind. I'm like, just do something. Like, why do these guys just...
I didn't think to add this because I didn't think it was important, but you actually make a good point. So when Katherine was like starting to date these men, she only was interested in men that were smaller than her.
Oh,
She's,
Yeah,
I was
like
gonna
I
say,
did.
she's probably got a
You
good
didn't
bit of
mention
muscle.
that.
She's working in a butcher
Because I didn't think
shop.
it was important, but you actually make a good point. Like
That
it
makes sense. I'll
mentions
be right
that
back.
Katherine is interested in men that are smaller than her.
That makes sense because if you think about it, like, she works in a butcher shop, so she's probably got some muscle.
She's probably a devil with the butcher knives. That's British. That's British. I'm so sorry. The Australians are going to hate us. I'm sorry, Australia. I love your country. I've always wanted to go.
That does make sense, though, that she would choose guys that were smaller than, because
To overpower 'em.
again, you're seeing, like, when I'm saying this, I'm 6'4" for audience. I'm 250 pounds. Like, that's why it always blows my mind. But that makes sense. She's always going with smaller guys. Sorry, Michael.
I wouldn't have been with her, so it's all good. Like, what if she's... This is almost like an interpretation of like a succubus almost. Like, she lures men in with sex and then just basically like torments them.
I mean, it's not that hard to crush someone's throat. Just grab them by the throat and just squeeze until their trachea and everything is squished in your hand.
Okay, so I apparently
That's
deleted
super
the side of I deleted the side of the notes, but so the defilement of the body did not stop at just propping him up. Okay, so Katherine would then decapitate John. Like, she removed his head,
Of course, as one does.
and I don't know the order of all this, but she also removed chunks of his meat and would cook it with carrots and potatoes.
Mhm.
And she boiled his head.
Mhm.
And she made 3 plates, 2 of which were going to be served to John's children, and 1 which they assume that she had tried to eat but didn't, and she threw it in the backyard. So when police arrived, they found the head still in like 120-degree water. Like, it
In the
had
pot.
it had just been boiled, pretty much. When police walked into the crime scene, right, they found Katherine comatose. They found a bunch of blood. They found John's pelt hanging from an archway going into the lounge, where they found John's skinless, decapitated corpse with 2 plates set aside for the children, because there was a note, or not notes, there was notes, plural, identifying what plate was for what child.
I'm not gonna lie to you, boys. I think I'd quit. That'd be the day I'd quit being a policeman. I'd be like, I can't do this.
I'm not like the biggest fan of the police department, but I do feel sympathetic for them having
I
to walk
feel
this
like
because,
walking in on this one would change me.
Yeah, I was like, I'd have to
yeah,
quit. I couldn't.
yeah.
You know,
If not, like I think police have access to therapy. If they don't, that should definitely be changed.
no, they do. There's a whole thing. Or at least, I'm not. I can't speak for every country. But I know there's a lot of push for that to
Yeah, I was like,
be.
typically after like an event like something like this, or like, I believe if I'm correct, anytime you draw your firearm and actually have to use your firearm, I believe you have to take like almost a psych eval afterwards to make sure you're still
And that could be movie
m-
propaganda because I've seen that in movies as well. I don't know if
mentally
that's true
there.
though, because
Yeah, I
I'm
was
not
like
a
mentally there to still, fire a gun.
make sure you're
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
I don't know the truth, the validity to
I
that,
don't
but I
either.
have heard of that. But that could just be from movies I've seen and TV shows.
yeah, that's pretty messed up, man.
But
But I will say,
This
even
is
if
why this is Australia's most gruesome murder.
He's-
I was gonna say, yeah, even if this is a 1 in a million shot, they're like, Michael, you'll never experience that again. I'm like, I experienced it though. I don't want to be a cop anymore. I want to just, I want to go like work at a grocery
I'm
store
gonna
or
go
something
grow
basic.
flowers
Yeah,
Yeah,
and have my
I'm gonna go
own.
be a gardener.
I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
be a
do
gardener.
something
I'm gonna have my
simpler
own
now.
greenhouse and just keep pretty flowers.
And then I'd repress it. I would just try my damnedest to repress it, so I never thought of it ever
Someone
again.
serves you a plate of veggies one day, and it just flashed back to the plate of meat and human
Dude,
flesh
knowing
and
my luck,
veggies. You're like,
it'd be like, oh, we're having beef stew. I'd be like, I can't. Nope.
I can't.
No,
I can't eat beef stew for
ever.
reasons I
Ever.
don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Now we're gonna move on to the
Just
trial.
the kid from Benchwarmers. I love beef stew.
So Katherine Knight was charged with the murder of John Price on March 2nd, 2001. After her attempt to plead guilty to manslaughter, that plea was rejected. She pleaded not guilty to the murder of John Price. Her trial was initially July 23rd, but her counsel was sick, so it was pushed to October 15th.
Okay, wait.
Af-
So she pleaded not guilty.
She tried to plead guilty of manslaughter, but not murder, which I guess carry different charges or different sentencing. I don't know all the
I
details
was
of
gonna
it.
say, what's the
Yeah, so she tried to plead guilty
The
for manslaughter.
premeditation goes into that.
that the difference between manslaughter and
For-
murder? Premeditation.
I'm pretty sure. If
Okay.
if the manslaughter what could have been considered, I believe, as a, like you accidentally killed someone with your vehicle, you blacked out. I believe manslaughter can be done that way. Murder is you were I'm going to kill them.
Oh, okay,
And-
so yeah, you're right, Gabe. So homicide refers to the killing of another human being, while manslaughter is a specific type of homicide that involves a killing without premeditation.
It's like a car
But with
accident where
some
you
degree
kill
of
someone in a car
culpability.
accident.
Yeah, it's like if you
That's
drink
why it's
and drive.
manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter.
Because like if you hit
wasn't
someone with a
intended.
car, like you weren't paying attention, and then they died in that car, it's like you didn't really intend for them to
Yeah,
die.
you were
Vehicular.
reckless, but you didn't premeditate to kill somebody.
I'm gonna be
See.
mad if she gets off with some bullshit of like, oh, she's just going to the psych ward because she's insane. I'm like, that doesn't work. She's done this 20 times now.
She's gone to psych ward 4 times.
So
Yeah.
She skinned a dude alive, dude.
After
She's got her own room.
Bitch, shut up. Let me tell you.
Michael, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Michael, I do appreciate your thoughts. You're a good human.
Casey, shut up and continue the story.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. After the trial started, Justice Barry O'Keefe offered people of the jury, of which there were 60, if they wanted to be excused because of the graphic nature of the case. 5 people accepted this offer. Several more dropped out later. The court was adjourned to the following day, where Katherine changed her plea to guilty, and they were no longer in need of a jury. The judge ordered a psychiatric assessment of Katherine to make sure she understood what she was agreeing to. Knight's legal team wanted to claim amnesia and dissociation, which would have been supported by the doctors. When asked why she changed her plea, she had no answer. Her lawyer also requests she not be present to avoid hearing facts about the case, but this request was refused. Timothy Lyon, who was a witness, took the stand. I tried to find out who Timothy Lyon was. I have no idea who Timothy Lyon is in this case, but he is important. But he's just witness, so I don't know if he was a police officer, a neighbor, or, I don't know who it was. But he took the stand. What?
I was just gonna say, what happens in that scenario? Just out of curiosity, did you research it at all? Like, if so much of the jury drops out, like, because you need so many people to vote.
Once she takes the guilty,
But before that
verdict.
happened, though, they kept going, and 4 dropped out, and then you said more.
I think you
dropped
still
out
just
after.
need a majority. So
If there's only
if
5, as
15
long as you get
people
3.
dropped out, I don't know.
I don't know
Okay,
how
I
that
was just
would
curious how
work
that
because I
worked.
know they have it to where it's like they're once they have the actual set amount of jury members, they also do have like the couple that will also be in the audience
Yeah, because it's
that
like a
like in
majority
case they
vote.
need to fill in, they
Which
can.
they may have done that, but it
Actually,
just I didn't really focus on it too much because it became irrelevant.
Yeah, because she pleaded guilty.
well, not
Yeah.
even that though. It's not even majority vote though sometimes because on what we read last week, they couldn't finish the trial because one juror out of the 12, is it 12 normally?
Yeah, they all have to agree.
Yeah, one
Oh,
couldn't
really?
agree with it, so the whole thing went out, and they had to do they had to do a retrial.
Yep.
So
Oh.
Because
I
you
think they
have
all
to.
have to be
That's the
unanimous.
thing about the jury. They all have to agree. They can't.
Yeah, I don't think it's
It can't
majority
be a
vote. I
split
think
jury.
it has to
No,
be
it's got to be
unanimous.
unanimous.
Yeah,
I thought it
because
was
remember on the
majority.
story last week, one guy didn't want to vote
Mhm.
because there's no body on Helicrafts, and that caused them to do a retrial like the following year.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Do you ever see 12 Angry Men?
Yeah, it was the black and white movie, right?
Black and white movie where
Yep.
that's the whole premise is they all the 11 of them agree on it and the one doesn't, and then the whole movie is him convincing all of them to agree because if not, it would have been a split jury and would have gone to a different thing.
Lyon described the skinning, the decapitation, the whole thing. When he did so, Catherine became upset and started to become hysterical, so much so that she had to be sedated. On November 8th, the judge pointed out Catherine's lack of remorse and made it clear to the severity and disgust of the crime. Justice O'Keefe sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This would be the first time in Australian history that this would happen. She tried to appeal her sentencing, but was quickly denied, with one judge saying, this is like a year later, by the way, this was an appalling crime, almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society. Actually, I think it was in 2007 that she
So
tried
what's
to
your
appeal.
argument for this? Like, yeah.
So hey, I know I skinned that guy. I cut his head off. I turned him into 3 dishes. I hung his pelt. I mean, sorry, his skin over the rat. You know, like.
Yeah.
I took good care of his body. I even set him up. I did a
But
great job. I took care of
that
him.
was years ago. I've learned my
I've learned I'm
lesson.
better for it now.
I've
Also,
really learned how to get away with my crimes now.
when I
She
hear
did
stories like
not.
this, I think of being the defense attorney. Like they come to you, they're like, "Hey, I need you to defend me," and then they tell you the whole story. It's like, "Oh boy, I don't really know where I'm going to go with this one."
That's why I
Insanity.
couldn't. I
Yeah,
couldn't do that because there's certain, and I know like, because there's a certain point where you have to take certain cases, you know, because you can't just say no to all the ones you don't agree with. Like you won't have work.
I know. It's like, how do you
And the
defend this? I'd
system
be
doesn't
like,
work that way. It's like I couldn't do that. To know that I was defending someone who's truly evil,
not
and
even
my
that. It's like
job is to try to either A,
make
get
them look
them
better.
off, or
Yeah.
B, get them off on, or get them the least sentence possible. You know, like I don't have the ability to compartmentalize that.
Yeah.
Not even that, but this one's hard. It's like you literally are gonna lean on her insanity at that point. That's all you've got, really.
The part that gets me the most is depending on their ages, both Catherine's and John Price's children, like, are probably separated, or maybe they're with the grandparents. I don't know, but they've lost their parents. You know, well, John Price's kids probably went and lived with their mom.
God, I really hope the kids
But
didn't walk in on this, like see this.
well, this happened really early in the morning. Like the police showed up at like 7 a.m.
Okay, because she said she had plates ready for them, and I know they stayed at the friend's house, the neighbor's house or whatever. But it's like, when are they coming home?
I don't know, but yeah, but the children is the part that kind of gets me, because especially the two children from Catherine and John Price, like they have nowhere to go, and all these kids have to live with the fact that their mother killed their father. But even for just Catherine's kids from other boyfriends, like they have to live with the fact knowing that their mother is, one of the
Monster.
worst murderers in Australian history.
I'm just thinking like, so didn't, if I remember correctly, Catherine, she came from several brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
Like just being like, hey, remember at Aunt Catherine, the
I man,
crazy Australian killer?
I think I would change my name.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want mine. I wouldn't want the same name because I just know that it's not my legacy, but you know it's gonna follow you the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's just, it
Like you
makes
go to
sense. This
apply
is
for a job, you
Australia's
put in a job application, it's
most
like,
gruesome.
oh, dude, your mom went to prison for murder. It's like,
Can you imagine going to school and be like, "Hey, didn't your mom skin your dad?"
that's what I'm saying. I would
I
change
don't
my
That
want
would
name.
be
to talk
so
about
I
it.
would
fucked.
change my name. Yeah.
Dude, I'd get in so many
Because you know
fights.
kids are merciless. Because kids don't know. They don't have the
Yeah.
ability to have the sympathetic.
Yeah, they don't like
They
they
don't
know what they're
understand.
saying,
Not
but they
even
don't
that. Not even
understand the
that. You
severity
think
of
like
it.
high school level, dude? High school are just assholes. They'll do it just to be an asshole.
At least my mommy didn't kill my
That's what I'm
dad.
saying.
He'd
They'll
skin
do
him
it just to be an
alive and put his
asshole.
head in a
Yeah.
pot. It's like,
Like,
would you
wow.
like her to?
So, Catherine, let's get back to the story here. Catherine is serving her time in Silverwater Women's Correctional Center and has also taken a leadership role amongst inmates. She is a mediator to help settle disputes. It was also reported Catherine has no record of violence within the correctional center and has she has received no prison charges. So she's
She also did get awards for good behavior when she was in school.
Yeah. Maybe she should have gone to like the military or something. It sounds like she just like needs structure of some kind.
I just see an asshole.
Casey,
just had such
Casey,
an asshole.
that's a big issue with the military when they get people like that, because they end up doing really well and getting into positions of power, and they're insane.
I have a feeling she was in this thing where
True.
she's like talking people through their problems, and I just picture some asshole being like, "Hey, yeah, I have a problem, but I don't have a knife on me."
She's like mediating. She's like, it could always be worse. And it's like, how could this be worse? But like, you could do this without your skin.
Yeah, you're right. You know what?
Maybe my life's not so bad.
It's like, you know what, Catherine, you're making a really good point. I will let it go.
Maybe it's because she did state at one point that she hates men. Maybe it's the fact that she's around all women. Maybe she's cool now.
She could be thriving, yeah.
Maybe men are just a trigger, which honestly wouldn't surprise me because
It wouldn't. Men are awful. Men are
well,
horrible.
if you remember her upbringing,
Yeah,
it was
men
very
had done nothing
traumatic
but
for her.
It would definitely
done nothing but abuse, rape,
Well,
and
this could have
torture this
all-
girl from a young age.
Exactly.
You know, if she went down a different path in life, she might have had a better life. If maybe
Yeah.
she just like
What
became a
different?
lesbian.
What are you talking
and, like,
about?
If she wasn't brutally raped as a young child,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. She probably would have had a different life.
She probably
Michael,
had
you're
a different life,
correct.
Michael. That is a very, very factual statement. Yeah, she was not brutally raped from 8 to 11, and all the other stuff that happened to her by men.
Yeah, good observation, Michael.
Yeah.
She should have gone out in the woods with some bears.
Or maybe she tried dating a woman and she's like, "Wow, I don't really,
Hey,
saying
we saw the dates. That would have been really difficult for her to do at the time.
that is true." Yeah.
Oh, like for the time period.
Yeah, it was in the 70s. Granted, that was where they were
Wow.
fighting a lot, but yeah,
Is
that would've-
Australia
I don't think
like
that would have made her life
homophobic?
easier.
She
I don't
might
know,
have-
but that just
Because if she thrived
70s and
around
80s were
women
not a
more,
good time. I feel like for the LGBTQ community.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Honestly, I could probably actually see him being a little bit more homophobic.
You what?
I said I could actually probably see Australia being a little bit more homophobic.
I don't know.
Same-sex marriage was legalized nationwide in 2017, so that wasn't that long ago. So they actually may be a little bit more homophobic.
2017.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I feel like there's a lot of countries where it's still highly illegal.
You know, I'm with the classic expression. You know, if they want to be miserable like the rest of us, then let them. I'm just kidding. I actually love my wife very much. She's an amazing woman.
I just really wanted to open that door
Yeah.
behind you and be like, "What?"
She comes in with like,
Behind you. She's got her
butcher
butcher.
knife.
She's like, my
Yeah.
new butcher knife came in, and she's
She's
like,
like, oh,
sharpening it.
good. I'm like, send help. Please,
Walks in the
somebody
door
help me.
holding a
Somebody
frying
help
pan.
me."
She's like, "What'd you say about me?"
Like, nothing. I said you're great.
Nothing,
Help me.
sweetheart.
Help me. Get me the fuck out of here. Get me the fuck out of here.
She's like, so last night you only did it 3 times. I feel like we should shoot for 4. If there's not, there will be consequences.
Help me tomorrow. Don't help me right now. I'm busy right now.
Help me tomorrow. Help me. Actually, help me about 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Help me.
Yeah, early in the morning. Send help. Unless you hear sex noises, don't help me yet.
Why did that one guy keep going back to her?
The sex was great, dude.
It's got. Yeah, I was like, "There's got to be something." They brought him back.
Psycho sex. Got to get you on that, Gabe.
What if she's just
I'm
really?
I'm buying you a plane ticket tomorrow. I'm not doing that. I can't afford that.
What if he's really into? Oh, what's it called? Is it masochism, where you like to get hit or abused? What is that?
Masochist causes
it is?
pain. Sadist, it has
No.
pain on them, I think.
Maybe
Or is it
I
reversed?
thought it was reversed.
I don't know. But what if the men were really into it? Like maybe that's why they went back. Maybe it wasn't the sex. They liked being.
Yeah, a masochist is a person who derives sexual gratification from their own pain or humiliation.
Masochist likes it on them.
What if they were masochists?
Sadist likes it on others.
Maybe she
Yeah.
wasn't even that good at sex. They really liked the abuse she gave them. I don't know how.
Look, I'm
You
not
you
about
get hit with
to
a
deep dive
frying pan.
into
Yeah.
some random guy's
Humiliation,
kinky,
sexual humiliation.
psychosexual,
Hit in the
like
head with a frying pan, but hey, whatever.
each to their own.
See, the only thing I can think of with John Price is that when she stabbed him in the chest while he was sleeping, she may have punctured a lung.
Hmm.
So he was like the whole time he was trying to catch his breath, was gasping for breath.
Well, it said he clipped.
Or don't
bottom of a
go
lung,
to
didn't
sleep
it?
next to the person that has already stabbed you once in the chest.
Yeah, these men are
No,
sleeping
no,
way
Gabe.
too.
You're forgetting the most important thing of this whole case: the sex.
Yeah,
The sex. Gabe.
men be sleeping way too comfortably in this house with her.
All
Yeah.
these men are just too comfortable. It's like, she's really fucking crazy, but
I guess it's bedtime.
that pussy though, man.
Now, see, I will say, usually, now this morning was a bit different, but usually I only sleep 3 to 5 hours. Like, that's my normal. So, like, I feel like it would just be like her, like, getting ready to kill me and then realizing I'm still awake.
You're just
know, like-
in bed, you're just staring at her, you're like,
She's just like, comes around the corner. Oh, you're still up? It's like, yeah. She's like, okay.
I picture this now. She opens the door holding the knife and she goes, "Oh, you're still awake," and then just shuts it. I'll wait. And
Yeah.
shuts it.
she's like,
wait,
she's just like holding the knife, She's just like, oh, I am making breakfast. Do you want eggs?
I'm just like, oh, I'm still.
Gabe
still-
in the fucking night, he's just like,
No.
Yeah,
At that
eggs
point,
are fine.
she's like,
Eggs-
"I'll wait."
eggs are
Eggs are
great.
good.
She's like, "I'll wait." Shuts the door. Gabe just climbs out the window.
I'm just gonna leave this way. I don't need any of these belongings. I'll come back.
I would absolutely climb out the window and dip. I'd be like, "Nope, we're out."
What was it? Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
Jumps out.
Is
the
Scott
window.
here? Then he just nope,
Yeah.
and then dives to the window in the
Yeah, yeah.
background.
Is Scott
For
here?
sure.
Nope. You just missed him. Flies out the window.
You just missed him.
He just left.
All right, so what'd you guys think? Of
Dude, that's
Katherine
so
Knight
fucked
case?
up.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you should have kept that part because that would have answered a lot of my questions about why these men were.
It was in there. I guess I just accidentally deleted it. I feel like at the after doing this podcast for a while, we're all gonna need to go to therapy.
I'm trying, waiting on the VA. Got an appointment next week.
We'll wrap this up here. So to recap, if your partner threatens to stab you, burns your stuff, keeps butcher knives under their pillow,
Slits your puppy's throat.
maybe maybe don't sleep over or marry them or eat their cooking. Katherine Knight is serving life without parole, the first woman in Australian history to get that sentence. Meanwhile, the rest of us are still trying to erase the dinner table image from our brains. Thanks
That's
for
not the
joining
word I
us
said it was.
for yeah, me neither, but thanks for joining us for this one. Hopefully your appetite returns sometimes next week. And remember, trust your gut, don't ignore red flags, and whatever you do, don't forget your flashlight.